Hello everyone, welcome to WebDev Warrior. In today's video, we're going to build an amazing job portal landing page from scratch. We're going to use the latest version of Next.js, which is Next.js 15. We're going to use the latest version of Tailwind CSS, which is Tailwind V4, and also we're going to use TypeScript in our project. So let me show you the demo of this landing page. So if I reload the page, you can see we have animation in our project. Here at the top, we have our nav links with hover effect and a login register button and a job portal button and a theme switch button. Here we have our hero section. So if I start scrolling, you can see we have our category section with scroll animation, and you can see how beautiful the scroll animation is. And if I hover, you can see this category have some 3D like hover effect, which looks amazing, and I'm going to teach you how you can implement this very easily. Next, we have the featured job section, and here we also have our scroll animation, and you can see this section looks very professional. Next, we have the top company slider. So here you can slide from left to right or right to left, and the slider have a auto sliding feature. So if I wait sometimes, you can see it slide automatically. Then we have this section with scroll animation. Then we have the pricing section, and you can see the price card looks amazing. Next, we have the testimonial section with sliding feature. So you can slide from left to right or right to left. And finally, we have our footer. The footer have some footer links with hover effect. Then here you can see a button. So if I click here, it will go to the top. So it's a scroll to top button. So initially it's hidden. If I start scrolling, it appear to the screen, and if I click here, it will go to the top. So it's a common feature that all the landing page have. Then the most exciting feature of this landing page is the dark mode and light mode. So now we are in the light mode. So if I click here, it will go to the dark mode. Boom, and you can see everything here fit perfectly. Every section changes color background according to this dark mode, and everything looks amazing in the dark mode. So I'm going to teach you how you can implement the dark mode light mode in any project. Another very important feature is this landing page is fully responsive in all devices. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile devices, you can see everything fit perfectly. Now we have this menu bar. So if I click here, it will open a sidebar, and you can see it the sidebar have very smooth animation and sliding effect. Then if I scroll, you can see every sections here fit perfectly in the mobile devices, no overflow, and it looks very amazing. And if I show you another type of device like the iPad device, in the iPad you can see it also fit perfectly with the viewport. Awesome. So our project is fully responsive. So in this project, I'm going to teach you everything from scratch. I'm going to teach you how you can initialize a Next.js project with Tailwind CSS, TypeScript, and how you can structure your project. I'm going to teach you the basics of routings in Next.js, and I'm going to teach you how you can implement this dark mode light mode, how you can create reusable component, how you can work with third-party libraries, and finally I'm going to teach you how you can deploy your project in live server like Version. So there is a lot of things that you are going to learn from this video, so I encourage you to watch the full tutorial, and the source code of this project will be given in the description, and the starter file also will be given in the description. And if you have any question related to this project, you can ask me in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this channel for more exciting projects video. So without wasting any time, let's start building this amazing landing page. Now we are going to set up our project. So first I'm going to create a folder inside my PC, and I'm going to name it job landing, and then I'm going to open this folder using Visual Studio Code. And here I'm going to open a new terminal, and in the new terminal I'm going to initialize our Next.js project. So I'm going to use npx npx create next app at the rate latest, so that we are going to initialize the latest Next.js version, which is Next.js 15, and then I'm going to add a dot slash so that all the packages are installed in our job landing folder. Then I'm going to hit enter. So it asked, would you like to use TypeScript? Yes, we are going to use TypeScript. We are going to use ESLint. We are going to use Tailwind CSS. We do not need the source directory. We are going to use the app router, and the turbo pack is for the faster development. So we are going to use the turbo pack also. And for the import alias, we do not need to customize it. So I'm going to hit no. So now this will install all the necessary packages to initialize a Next.js project. So let's wait some time to complete the installation. The installation is completed. Now let's open this app folder. So this is the main directory here. So inside this we have global.css. So here we already have some code. I'm going to remove all of this because we're going to start from scratch, and then I'm going to hit save. Then we have this layout.css. So this is the overall wrapper of our project. For example, here we have children. So here if I add a neighbor, and then we have children, and then add a footer, then this navbar and footer will be attached to all the page that you are going to create in this project. So this layout wraps our project. Also, you can customize your font and metadata in layout. So I'm going to remove this navbar and footer text from here. Then we have this page.ts. So this is the main page. When you go to the localhost 3000, this page will appear to the screen. So here I'm going to remove everything, and then I'm going to use a shortcut RAFC, and I'm going to create a component boilerplate. I'm going to name this home page. Now if you wonder how I use the shortcut, so to use this shortcut you need to install a extension. The extension name is this one, ES7 plus React Redux React Native snippet. By installing this extension you can use the shortcut. So this is our home page. Here I'm going to apply some Tailwind classes to check if our Tailwind is working or not. So I'm going to use text 9. Now if I hit save, and if I run our project using npm run dev, and then if I go to the browser and run localhost 3000, so now you can see we have our larger text. That means our Tailwind is working perfectly. So now I'm going to remove this because we do not need this class name. And then I'm going to hit save. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the terminal, and I'm going to install React icons, because in our project we are going to use a lot of icons, and for the icons we are going to use React icons. So I'm going to use npm I React icon. So this will install the React icon packages in our project. So when it's installing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, so here we have some problems. So I have some typing mistakes. So let's fix this. So this one will be React icons. So now if I hit enter, and if I wait some time, so now our React icons install successfully. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a image folder in our public, and here I'm going to copy some of the image that we are going to use in this project. And don't worry, this image will be given to the starter file, and the starter file is in the description. So I'm going to copy this and paste it in our images. So these are some of the images that we are going to use in our project. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to customize our font and metadata. So in the layout you can see we are given this default font just and just mono, but we're not going to use this. So I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to use Roboto font here. So I'm going to import Roboto from next font Google, and then here I'm going to remove these two default fonts, and at the top I'm going to create a constant of font, and I'm going to use the roboto, and inside this you need to pass some parameters. So first one is the font weight. So for the font weight I'm going to use 100, 200, then 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, and finally 900. Then we need to pass another thing, which is the subsets. So here the subsets will be Latin. So now if I hit save, and now I'm going to replace this with our font dot class. Now if I hit save, and then if I go to our project, and if I inspect, and if I hover on this text, you will see it's using the roboto font, and you can see it's font 60 pixel, 16 pixel, roboto, and roboto font. So that means our font is configured properly. Next I'm going to change the metadata. This metadata is very important for the SEO purposes. So for the title here I'm going to use job portal landing page, and for the description I'm going to use job portal landing page using Next.js 15. You can use any description you want. So now if I go to our project, here you can see at the top we have job portal landing page. Awesome. So our metadata is also configured. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to name it components, and inside this I'm going to create a helper folder for our helper components, and then I'm going to create a home for our home page component. In the home I'm going to create a file called home.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this home in our home page. So here I'm going to remove everything, and I'm going to use home component. So the idea here is all the homepage related component like the hero section, the client review section will be added to this home page and home component, and then this home component will be added to the homepage component. So that makes our homepage component clean. So in the page we have a clean homepage component, and all the other components will be added to this home component. So that's the main idea. And here at the div I'm going to add a class name, and the class name I'm going to use overflow hidden, because we don't want any overflow in our project. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have just the text home. So this is the setup for our project. Now I'm going to teach you the basic routings in Next.js. So for that, let's go to the page.tsx. So this is our home page. So when you go to the localhost 3000, so localhost 3000, this page will appear. Next, I'm going to teach you how you can create other page like 3000 slash about. Then I'm going to teach you how you can create nested routing, something like localhost 3000 slash about slash, let's say, team. Then I'm going to teach you the dynamic routing. So how you can implement dynamic routing in your project. So something like localhost 3000 slash about slash team slash, let's say, team member ID, which is 10. So I'm going to teach you all of this. So we already have this one. So when you go to the localhost 3000, this page will appear. So to create this about page, what we need to do is in the app, we need to create a folder using the same name, which is about. And then inside this, we need to create a page.tsx. And it is very important, you have to name it page.tsx, otherwise it will not work. Here I am going to create a component boilerplate and let's name it about page. Now if I hit save and if I go to our project and in the localhost 3000, so if I go to the localhost 3000 and we have the home, and then if I go to the localhost 3000/about, now you can see we are in the about page. So you can see how easy it is to create different pages in Next.js. So let's go back to the home page, and in our code now let's implement this nested routing like /about/tip. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this page.tsx, and here in the about, inside this about, we need to create another folder which is team. So this is the team. So we need to create team here, and then inside this we need to create a page.tsx. And now if I use RAFC to create a component boilerplate, and let's name it about team page. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I go to localhost 3000/about/team and hit enter, now you can see we're in the about team page. Awesome. So this is the nested routing. Now let's go to the localhost 3000, and finally I am going to show you how you can create a dynamic route in Next. So for this I am going to delete this page.tsx from here. So let's delete this, and then we already have about and then team. Now inside this team we need to create another folder using this third bracket syntax, and here let's say we are receiving an ID of the team member, so we need to pass ID here and then hit enter. Now inside this folder we need to create a page.tsx, and here we are going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and let's say dynamic page. So now if I go to our project and if I go to localhost 3000/about/team, and let's set the team member ID is 10. Now if I hit enter, now you can see we are in the dynamic page. Awesome. Now if you wonder how you can get this ID from here, so we can get this. So for that we need to convert this into an async component, because in Next.js 15 to get the ID from params we need to make our component an async component, and we need to use the async wait to get the params. So here we will get the params, and then we can get the ID by await params.id. So now if I add the ID here and if I hit save and if I go to our project, now you can see here we have our ID 10. So we successfully get this ID from our params. Now let's use 10,000. Now here you can see we get the value 10,000. So this is the dynamic routing in Next.js. So let's go to the localhost 3000, and here it's complaining about the TypeScript, but I'm going to teach you the TypeScript when we start building our landing page, so don't worry about this. So now you have a better understanding of how routing works, how the static routing works, nested routing works, and dynamic routing works. So I'm going to delete this about from here. So this is it for the basic routing. I hope you understand how routing works in Next.js. Now we are going to build the navbar. So if I show you the navbar, here you can see we have our logo, some nav link, and two button and a theme toggler button. So now we are going to build the navbar. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it navbar. And inside this, first I'm going to create a nav.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and this is for the desktop size navbar. Then I'm going to create another one which is mobile nav.tsx, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and this is for the sidebar in the responsive design. In the mobile view we have a sidebar, so to build this sidebar we are going to use this mobile nav component. Next I'm going to create a responsive nav. Here I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and I'm going to hit save. So this is for the responsive nav, so we are going to configure the responsive functionality here. Then in the responsive nav, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add our neighbor and mobile neighbor here. That's it. So now in the layout we're going to add our responsive navbar, so that all the page have access to the navigation bar. So that's why before the children I'm going to use responsive nav. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text nav, mobile nav and home. So now first let's go to the nav.tsx, and here in the first div we have a class name of transition all. So we are using the transition because we are going to add some animation here. So in the deployed version, if I start scrolling, you can see it changes background color and the shadow. So that's why we need a smooth change here. That's why we are using the transition. And then after the transition, we are going to use the duration of 200 millisecond. Then we have height will be 12 VH. Then Z index will be 10,000. Then we have fixed and width will be 4. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of flex. Items will be center, height will be full, justify will be between, then we have width of 92%, mx will be auto. Now inside this div we first have a div with class name of flex. Items will be center, and smaller devices SpaceX will be 20. That's it. Now inside this we have our logo and we have our nav links. So first let's start with the logo. So here we have a div with class name of flex. Items will be center and SpaceX will be 2. Then inside this, so if I show you the logo here, you can see we have a icon and some text. If you want, you can use any image for the logo. So here inside this div we have another div with class name of width 10, height 10, background will be cyan 800, and then we have rounded full flex. Items will be center, justify will be center, and flex will be in the column direction. Now inside this div we have an icon which is LU network from React icons, and this icon will have some class name. So first one we have width of 5, height of 5, text color will be white, and that's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our icon and the background. So for now, I am going to comment out this mobile nav and home. So let's go to the home here. So I'm going to remove this text from here because we do not need it. And in the responsive nav, for now, I'm going to comment this mobile nav. So let's comment this import also. Now if I hit save and go to our project, now you can see we have our logo, but it is at the top. So let's go to our nav. So here we have some typing. So here we have a space. Now if I hit save and go to our project, now you can see now it looks better. Then after this icon and after this div, we have the text. So we're going to use the h1 with the text dev hire, and this h1 will have some class name. The text will be excel. This one will be hidden in small devices, and small and large screen, this one will be block. In medium screen, text will be to excel. Text color will be cyan 800, and font will be bold. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our text dev hire, just like this one. So this is our logo. After the logo, we have nav links. So for the nav links, what I'm going to do is first I'm going to create a new folder at the root level, and I'm going to name it constant. And here I'm going to create a file called constant.ts, and here we are going to add our constant variables and constant data. So here first I'm going to export const nav links. This one will be an array of object, and the object will contain an id, a URL. For now I'm going to use hash for the URL, and then a label. So for the first one, the label will be home, and we have 5 more. So I'm going to copy this 5 more time. Then the second one, the id will be 2, the URL will be same, but the label will be find job. Then we have id of 3, the URL will be hash, and the label will be candidates. Then we have id 4, and the label will be employees, employers. Then we have id 5, and the label will be block. And finally id 6, and the label contact. By doing this, you can add or remove any nav links you want from here. So now let's go to our home and nav. So here in the nav links, first what I'm going to do is first I'm going to create a div with class name of hidden in the small devices, and in large screen we're going to show this as a flex, and items will be center, and SpaceX will be 10. Now inside this we're going to use our nav links from our constant, and we're going to import it from the constant, and then we're going to map through it. We'll get the individual link, and then we're going to return a link component from our next link. Now the link, first we need to add a key. The key will be link dot id, and then we have a href. The href will be link dot URL. Then we have some class name. So text will be base. In hover, text will be sign 700. Then we have font of medium. transition all, and the duration will be 200 milliseconds. And then inside this link we have a p tag with link dot label. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our nav links with the hover effect. Awesome. Next we have these buttons. So let's go here. So after completing this, we have the buttons. So here we have a div with class name of flex, item center, and SpaceX 4. Now inside this div, first we have our login register button. So here we have a button tag with the text login slash register. Now this button will have some class name. So first we have px of 8, py of 2.5, text will be extra small, and smaller devices text will be small, rounded will be LG, cursor pointer, background will be gray 700, in hover the background will be gray 300, then the transition all and duration will be 300 milliseconds. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so this is our button, but it doesn't look like this one. So let's go to our code. So here the background will be bg gray 100. So now if I hit save and go to our project, now it's look like this one, and we have the hover effect also. Next we have this job post button. So after this login button we have job post button. So here we have a button with the text job post, and this button will have some class name. Px will be 8, py will be 2.5, then we have text small, it will be hidden. In smaller devices this one will be block, cursor will be pointer, rounded LG, then we have background of sign 700, in hover the background will be sign 900, and transition all and duration will be 300 milliseconds, and text color white. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so this is our job post with hover effect. Then we have the theme toggler, which will change our dark mode to light mode and light mode to dark mode. For now I'm not going to implement this, but in the next we are going to implement the dark mode light mode feature when then we add this theme switcher here. So for now I'm just going to add a comment here. This is theme toggler. So we're going to add the theme toggler here. Next we have a burger menu to open and close our Navbar. So in the deployed version, so if I inspect, you can see we have this menu bar. By clicking this, the sidebar will open and close. So here we have the burger menu. Here we are going to use an icon. So the icon is high bars bottom right. So this is the icon that we are going to use here, and this icon will have some class name of width 8, height 8, cursor will be pointer, then text color will be black. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our burger menu. But this one will be hidden in the desktop device. It will only appear in the mobile devices. So that's why we're going to use in large screen, this one will be hidden. So now if I hit save and go to our project, now you can see it's hidden. And if I inspect, you can see it appear to the screen. Now in the mobile devices, you can see we only have the login register button and this burger menu. So just like this one. So here we are just missing the theme toggler. Next what we are going to do is, so if you notice that when I start scrolling, it changes background color and it has some shadow. So now we are going to implement this. So for this, let's go to the nav, and here first what we need to do is we need to convert this component into a client component using use client, because in Next.js all the components are by default a server component, and in server component you cannot use hooks. So if I show you, for example, if I create a state variable here like nav bg and set nav bg, and we use state, and initially this one will be false. And if I remove this use client and hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have a error. So it says that you are importing a component that needs use state. This React hooks only works in client component. So hooks are only used in the client component, and to convert this component to a client component, we can use the use client directive at the top. So now if I hit save and now if I reload the page, you can see the error is gone. So next what I am going to do is, after creating the state variable, I'm going to use effect hooks here, and we are going to pass the empty dependency array, and here I'm going to create a function called handler. This one will be an arrow function, and inside this we're going to take if window dot scroll y, not screen, scroll y is greater than or equal to 90. So if we scroll 90 pixels, then we are going to set our navbg to true. If the window dot scroll y, if it is less than 90, then we're not going to show the background or the shadow. So we're going to set our navbg to false. That's it. And then in the window we're going to add event listener, and we're going to listen for the scroll event, and here we're going to run our handler. And it is a good practice to remove the event listener in the cleanup function in the use effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a return a function, a cleanup function, and here I'm going to copy this, and instead of add event listener I'm going to use remove event listener. That's it. So this is our use effect function and the cleanup function. Now based on this condition, our navbg will be true or false. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this classes dynamic. So for this I'm going to use this curly braces and the template literal format, so that I can use conditions here, add styling based on some condition. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to check if navbg is true, then we're going to add our background white and shadow md. Otherwise we're just going to use fixed. So now if I hit save and let's go to our home and add some height so that we can check this. So I'm going to use height of 2000 pixel. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I start scrolling, so nothing happens. Let's reload the page, and now if I start scrolling, you can see we have the shadow and it looks awesome. So this is our desktop navigation bar. So if I inspect, you can see the nav links are hidden and we have this login register button with this menu bar. So this is it for the desktop navigation bar. Now we are going to build the sidebar. So if I show you the sidebar in the deployed version, so here if I click, you can see first the overlay come to the screen and then the main sidebar. And when we close, the overlay was removed from the screen first and then the sidebar. So let's go to our responsive nav and here comment out the mobile nav and also comment out from here and then go to the mobile nav.tsa, and here the first div doesn't have any class name, and inside this div first we have the overlay, and here we have a div with class name of fixed, then we have inset of 0, then we're going to use transform transition of, we have right 0 and duration will be 500 milliseconds, z index will be 1000, 40 and 2, then we have background will be black, then opacity will be 70, and then we have width of full, height will be screen. So now if I hit save and go to our project, there you can see we have our overlay. Awesome. So next after the overlay we have our nav links. So here we have a div with class name of text color will be white, this one will be fixed, justify center, flex will be in the column direction, height will be full, transform, then the transition all, duration 500 millisecond, delay will be 300 milliseconds, so that first the overlay come to the screen and then the nav links. Then we have width will be 80% and smaller devices width will be 60%, and then the background will be cyan 800 and space y will be 6, z index will be 100050 and right will be 0. Now inside this div we are going to map through our nav links from our constant, and we are going to map through it. We will get the individual link, and here we are going to return a link from our next link, and the link will have the key will be link dot id, and then the href will be link dot url. Then inside this link we have a p with link dot label. This p tag will have some class name. So first we have text of file, width will be feed, text will be excel, margin left will be 12, border bottom will be 1.5 pixel, padding bottom will be 1, border white, so border will be white. Then we have smaller devices, text 30 pixel. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our sidebar with home, find job, candidate, employees, blog and contact. Awesome. So next we need this icon to close the sidebar. So let's go to our project. So after this we have the close icon. So here we are going to use CG close from React icons, and here we have some class name of absolute, top will be 0.7 RAM, right will be 1.4 RAM, smaller devices width will be 8, and small and large screen width will be 8, otherwise width will be 6 and height will be 6. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have a close button. Awesome. So it looks exactly like this one. Next we need to implement the functionality. So for that, go to the responsive nav, and here at the top I'm going to declare a state variable which is show nav, and set show nav, and we're going to use a use state, and initially this one will be false. After that I'm going to create two functions. One is open nav handler, which will be an arrow function which set our show nav to true. Then we have another one which is close nav handler, and we are going to set our show nav to false. That's it. Now we have to pass these props in our nav and mobile nav. So in the nav we are going to pass open nav, which is open nav handler, and in the mobile nav we are going to pass the show nav, which will be the show nav, and here we will have a comma. Then in the mobile nav we are going to pass the close nav, which will be our close nav handler. So now we have to receive this props, and we are using TypeScript, that's why we need to also configure the types for these props. So first let's go to the nav.tsx, and here at the top we are going to create a type. So type, and we are receiving a props. So you can name it anything you want. Props, you can use the nav props, you can use your name, but I'm using the props. So type props, and here we're receiving an open nav, which is a function that returns void. Now we need to pass this in our component. So here we are going to pass our props, and we are going to import our open nav. And then when we click on this burger menu, so here in the on click we are going to run our open nav. So open nav function, so this one. Then let's go to the mobile nav, and here at the top we're receiving props, and here we're receiving a show nav, which is a type of boolean, and then we're receiving a close nav, which is a function that returns void. Now we are going to add this here, so props, and we are importing the close nav and show nav. Now when we click on this close icon. So in the on click here, we're going to run our close nav. That's it. Now, based on this show nav, we're going to show or hide our sidebar. So for that, I'm going to create a new variable here, and I'm going to name this const nav open. So here we're going to check if the show nav is true, then we're going to show the nav using translate x of 0. Otherwise, we're going to hide the sidebar. So we are going to use translate x 100%. So now if I hit save, and now we need to add this nav open style for the overlay as well as the nav link. So here I'm going to convert this into a dynamic using this curly braces and template literal, and remove this. So here we are going to convert this into a template literal using the curly braces and template literal syntax, and then here we're going to add our nav open. That's it. We're going to do same for this. So we're going to convert this into a template literal, and here we're going to add the nav open. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I, so here I think we have some error. If I reload the page, and here we have error because in the responsive nav we use the state but we don't convert this into a client component, so we need to use client here. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so now the error is gone. So now if I click here, you can see our sidebar open, and if I click here it will close. So you can see how smoothly it opens and closes. Awesome. So this is our desktop navigation bar where we have the nav links, the buttons, and then this is our mobile navigation bar where we have a menu icon, and by clicking this the sidebar opens and closes. Awesome. Now let's remove the hide from our home. So let's go to the home and remove this hide because we do not need it. Now let's hit save. So this is it for our navbar. Our navbar is completed. Now we are going to implement the dark light feature in our project. So for this feature, we're going to use an npm package which is called Next.js. So this package helps us to manage our dark theme and light theme state. So we're going to use this, and you can see they have a lot of weekly download, and it's very popular to create the light and dark theme in Next.js project. So I'm going to copy this, and then here I'm going to paste it to install the next themes. Next, what we need to do is we need to create a provider. So in the component, I'm going to create a folder called HOC for higher order component, and I'm going to create a file called provider.tss, and here I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and here we're going to receive children, and then we're going to provide the type. That type for the children will be React Node. That's it. And here we're going to return a theme provider from next theme, and inside this we'll have our children. That's it. Now in the theme provider, we're going to use the attributes class, then we're going to use the enable system, and the default theme will be the system theme. So if your system preference is light mode, then it will be light initially. And if your system is in the dark mode, then initially it will be dark mode. So we are going to use system. That's it. So this is our provider. And we need to add this in our layout. So let's go to the layout and we're going to wrap everything using the provider. So import the provider and wrap everything here inside the provider. That's it. Now if you go to the Tailwind CSS, so I'm going to search for Tailwind CSS dark mode, and if I go to their website and if I scroll here, you can see for toggling dark mode manually we need to use this. So I'm going to copy this from here and then I'm going to open our global CSS and I'm going to paste it here. That's it. Next, in the component in the helper, I'm going to create a theme toggler component. So theme toggler .tsx, and then here I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and I'm going to make this a client component using use client. That's it. Now here first I'm going to create a state variable. I'm going to name this mounted and set mounted, and I'm going to use state, and initially this one will be false. Then I'm going to get the information here from use theme hooks. I'm going to use the use theme and call it, and here we're going to get the theme, then the set theme and the system theme. That's it. Then here I'm going to use a use effect hook, and this one will be an empty dependency, and here I'm going to set the mounted to true. Next I'm going to check if this is not mounted. If the mounted is false, then we're going to return now. Next we will find the current theme. So I'm going to use a constant current theme, and we're going to use our theme here, which is coming from here. If the theme is equal to system, then the system theme with theme. That's it. So this will store our current theme. Now here we are going to return a button. The button will have some class name of padding 2, transition, then width of 10, height of 10, BG will be blue 950. Then in the dark mode, so here you can see we are using the dark mode here. In the dark mode we want a background of white. Rounded will be full. Then we have flex, and flex will be in the column direction. Items will be center, and justify center. And in the button, when we click on this button, we are going to check here. We're going to set our theme here, and we're going to first check if the current theme is equal to dark. If the current theme is dark, then by clicking this button we're going to make it light, and if it is already in the light mode, we are going to make it dark. So basically we are toggling the dark mode and light mode using this button. When you click on this button, then inside this button we are going to check if the current theme is equal to dark. In that case, we are going to show a sun icon, otherwise we are going to show a moon icon. So here we are going to use bi sun from our React icons, and here we are going to show a bi moon from React icons. And now this sun icon will have some class name of text white. In the dark mode, we want the text black, and width will be 7, height will be 7, and cursor pointer. And for the moon icon, we also have some class name of text white. In the dark mode, text will be black, and width will be 7, height will be 7, and cursor pointer. That's it. So this is our theme toggler. Now we are going to add this in our Navbar. So let's open our nav, and here, if you remember, we have this comment. So here I am going to use the theme toggler. So now if I hit save, and if I go to our project, and now you can see we have our theme toggler here. And one thing we need to do is, in the layout, we need to add this suppress hydration warning. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and now if I click here, you can see, boom, we are in the dark mode. And you can see how easy it is to implement the dark mode and light mode. And you can see how smooth it is changing its color. And for the icon, it also changed from sun to moon. Awesome. So now we have dark mode and light mode. Now we need to change these colors based on this dark mode and light mode. So let's go to the navbar here. So in the navbar, at the top for the logo here, so here at the first div, so if the nav page is true, the background will be white, and in the dark mode, the background will be gray 900. That's it. Next, for the logo here, in this div, the background is cyan 800, but in the dark mode, the background will be white. That's it. And here, this icon text is white, but in the dark mode, the text will be black. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see this icon looks amazing. So if I go to the dark mode here, you can see it looks exactly like this one. Next, we need to change this color for this text dev hire. So here we have the text bd sign 800, but in the dark mode, the text will be white. Now if I hit save and go to our project, now you can see it's white. Next, we need to change this button background color. So let's go to the button here. So this is the login and register button, and here in the dark mode, the background will be gray 700, and in the dark mode, hover in the dark, if we hover on this button, the background will be bg gray 900. So now if I hit save and go to our project, So now you can see this look like this button. Awesome. So now you can see in the dark mode everything looks awesome. So let's change the hover also for this nablings. So let's go to the nablings here, and here in the dark mode, in the hover, the text will be sign 200. So now if I hit save, and now you can see in hover it also looks amazing. Let's add some height here to check if our scroll background changed properly or not. So here I'm going to use a height of 200 pixels. Now if I hit save, and if I start scrolling, you can see here it also changes background color. So just like this one. Awesome. Now I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to hit save. And now if I go to the light mode, you can see in light mode everything fit perfectly and looks amazing, and also in the dark mode. So our dark mode light mode functionality is completed. Now we are going to build the hero section. So if I show you the hero section, here you can see we have some text content and a job search, and then popular searches, and then an image. So to build the hero section, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name this hero. And inside this, I'm going to create a hero.tsx. And then I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in my home. So here I'm going to add our hero. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text hero. Now in the hero.tsx, the first div have a class name of relative, then we have width of full, height will be screen, then flex, justify will be center, then flex will be in the column direction. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of width will be 90%, in medium screen width will be 80%, mx will be auto, then we have items of center, we are going to use grid calls will be 1 in smaller devices, and in extra large grid calls will be 2, and then gap will be 10. Now inside this div we have text content and we have image content. So this is the text content div, and then we have image content. So this is the image content div. So first let's start with the text content. Here we have h1, and the text I'm going to copy it from our deployed version. This is the text, join us and explore thousands of jobs. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it here. And this h1 will have some class name of text3xl. In smaller devices text will be large, not large, text will be 6xl, and font will be bold. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our join us and explore thousands of jobs, just like this one. Next we have this subheading, so I'm going to copy the text from here, and then after the h1 we have a p tag with this text, and this p tag will have some class name. So first we have margin top of 4, text will be small, and smaller devices text will be large, and font will be medium. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have find jobs, employment, and career opportunities. Next we have this job search. So for this I'm going to create a separate component for this search. So let's go here, and in the hero I'm going to create a new component which is job search bar.tsx. So this is dedicated for this job search form, or you can say the job search input box. So here I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. So RFC, and here let's add some comment. This is the heading, the subheading, and then we have the job search bar. So here I'm going to use our job search component. That's it. Now let's go to the job search bar, and here the first div have some class name of with full max width. Max width will be 4 XL. Then we have mx of auto and margin top of 8. Then inside this div we have another div, and this div have some class name of flex. Flex will be in the column direction. In medium screen, flex will be in the row direction. Background will be white. Then in the dark mode, we have BG gray 900, and shadow will be MD, rounded LG, and overflow will be hidden. That's it. And then inside this div, we first have the job title or company input. So let's name it. Here we have what fields. Then inside this we have a div with class name of flex. Then items will be center, border, bottom. In medium screen, border bottom will be 0. Then in medium screen, border will be right. Then border will be gray 200. In dark, border will be gray 700, and px will be 4. Smaller devices and large, py will be 6, and py will be 3 for extra small devices. Width will be full. In medium screen, width will be half. And that's it. Now inside this div, we have an icon first. So here we have an icon which is MD search icon from React Icons, and this icon will have some class name of text gray 500. Text will be extra large and margin right will be 2. And then after the search we have an input of type text. Then we have the placeholder. The placeholder will be job title or company, and then we have some class name of with full and outline none. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our job title or company, and here we have a border, and then we have the other search bar for city or postcode. So after this what field, we have our where fields, and here we have a div with class name of flex items will be center, border bottom. In medium screen, border bottom will be 0, border will be gray 200. In the dark mode, border will be gray 700, px will be 4, and small and large screen py will be 6, and less than smaller devices py will be 3, width will be full. In medium screen, width will be half. That's it. Now inside this div we have an icon of fmat from React icon, and this icon will have some class name of text gray 500, then text will be extra large and margin right will be 2. Then after this icon we'll have an input of type text, and this input will have the placeholder city or postcode. Then this input will have some class name of with full and outline none. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have the second part city or postcode, just like this one. Awesome. Next we have this button, find jobs. So after this div we have the find jobs button, and here we have a button, and the button text will be find jobs, and this button has some class name of bg blue 600, text color white, px will be 8, smaller devices py will be 6, py will be 3, cursor pointer, text small. In medium screen, text base, width full. In medium screen, width will be auto, mean width will be 140 pixel, white space, no wrap. In the hover, bg will be blue 700, and we're going to use a transition. And now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our find jobs button. Awesome. And you can see it looks exactly like this one. Awesome. Next we have this popular search part. So let's go to our hero. So after the job search we have our popular search, and here we have a div with class name of text base, font semi bold, text will be gray 700. In the dark mode, text gray 300, margin top will be 6, flex, item center, and spacex 6. Now inside this div we have a span with the text popular search, and then we have another span, and this span has some class name of text small, text gray 700. In the dark mode, text gray 300, and font will be light. And inside this we're going to copy the text from here. So this is the text. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our popular search, designer, developer, web, iOS, PHP, senior and engineer. Awesome. So just like this one. Next we need the image. So these are image content, and this div, image content div, have some class name, and the class name is margin. Image will be auto. Then we have hidden, so the image will be hidden. In extra large we are going to show the image. Now inside this div we have our image component from next image, and this image will have the source of slash images slash hero dot png. Then the alt will be hero, and the width will be 900, and the height will be 900. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our image. Awesome. Everything look like this one. And if I show you in the dark mode, you can see in the dark mode everything looks awesome. So the text color, the background, everything changes its color according to the theme. Awesome. Now if I show you the responsiveness, and if I show you in the mobile devices, you can see in mobile devices everything fit perfectly. If I show you here, you can see it looks exactly like this one. So here we have a typing mistakes, popular sources. So now if I hit save, now you can see it looks amazing. In the mobile view, every section, every part fit perfectly. If I show you another device like iPad, you can see in iPad it also looks amazing. And we have the sidebar also, and in the dark mode it also looks amazing. So here we have a mistake. In the dark mode, our menu icon will change its color. So let's go to the navbar, and the text is black, but in the dark mode the text will be white. So now if I hit save, and now you can see it looks good. So now everything looks perfect. So our hero section is completed. Next we are going to build the category section. So if I show you the category section, here you can see we have section heading, and we have this category card with this amazing hover effect. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name this category, and inside this I'm going to create a category dot tsx, and then I'm going to use rafc to create a component boilerplate. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy some static data that we are going to use in this project. So first let me paste the data here. So here you can see we have a array of object of our category data, where we have an ID, we have a category name, we have an open position, and we have an icon, where we have different icons with class name. Here we add a width of 10, height of 10, text blue 700, and in the dark mode the text will be white. And if you want, you can create your own category data, or I'm going to attest this data in the starter file, and the starter file is in the description. So here we need to import this data. So let's import these icons from React icons, and this one is the laptop code, this one is a rocket icon. So I'm going to import all of these icons from React icons, and this is the last one. So that's it. So these are the icons that we are going to use, and these are the category data that we are going to use. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this in our home. So after the hero, we will have our category data, not category data, the category component. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have the text category. Awesome. Now let's go to the category.tsx, and here the first div have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16. Now inside this we have a section heading. For the section heading, I am going to create a separate component so that we can reuse the section heading in our other section. So in the helper, I am going to create a section heading.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. And in the section heading, we are going to receive some prop. So I'm going to define the type of the props. So the type of the props here, we're going to receive a heading of type string, and we're going to receive a subheading which is a type of string. Now we're going to pass this in our section heading component, and we're going to import the heading and subheading. Now here inside this div, we're going to have a h1 with our heading, and then we have a p tag with our subheading. Now this h1 has some class name. In smaller devices, text will be 3XL, text will be 2XL, font will be bold, then text will be gray 800. In dark mode, text will be gray 200, and text color will be, and text position will be center. Now for the subheading, we have some class name. The text will be center, margin top will be 3, text will be gray 500. Then in the dark mode, the text will be gray 400. So this is our section heading component. Now we can reuse it in our all of the section. Now let's go to the category.tsx, and here inside this div we'll have our section heading, and we have to pass some props. First one is the heading, and second one is the subheading. So I'm going to copy this heading and subheading from our deployed version. So here this is the heading, so I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and then this is the subheading, so I'm going to copy this and paste it here. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our section heading. Awesome. So next, what we have is we have a div, and inside this div we have some class name of width of 80%, image of auto, margin top will be 16. We're going to use grid calls will be 1. Smaller devices, grid calls will be 2. In medium screen, grid calls will be 3. In large screen, grid calls will be 3. In extra large screen, grid calls will be 4, and gap will be 6. Now inside this we are going to map through our category data, and we will get an individual category, and here we are going to return. Here we are going to return a div with, here we need to pass the key. The key will be category dot id, and inside this div we are going to create a new component which is the category card. The category card will contain this card. So let's go here in the category folder. I am going to create a category card.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. And then here inside this div, I'm going to add our category card, and here we need to pass the props category, and this one will be the category data. So now we have to receive the props and give them the proper type. So now here is a trick. So if you hover here, it will give you the type. So the category is object that contains ID, category name, open position, and icon, which is a React.js element. So I'm going to copy this from here, and then I'm going to open my category card, and here we're going to have a type props, and the props will be a category object that contains ID, category name, open position, and icon. Now I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to import the category. That's it. Now if you saw the hover animation here, you can see it's pretty advanced, and to implement this hover effect we are going to use a package, and the package we are going to use is called React Tilt. So if I search for React Tilt, here you can see we have this React Parallax Tilt. So we are going to use this. So if I go to their npm package, and here you can learn more about by reading their documentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this npm script, and I'm going to paste it here to install this Parallax Tilt. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this div from here, and here I'm going to use tilt. So first let's import tilt. So import tilt from React Parallax Tilt, and then we're going to use it here, and then the tilt we're going to pass a scale of 1.5 and transition speed will be 500 milliseconds. That's it. And we have to convert this component into a client component. So I'm going to use yours client. That's it. Now inside this tilt we have a div with class name of padding of 6, bg will be gray 50. In the dark mode the bg will be gray 900 and shadow md. Now inside this div we have another div, and this div will contain the category dot icon, and this div have some class name of width 16, height 16, bg will be gray 200. Then in the dark mode the bg will be gray 800 and rounded full. Mx will be auto, flex, items will be centered, justify will be centered, and flex will be in the column direction. So now if I hit save and go to our project, let's reload the page, and if I scroll here you can see we have our category card, and when I hover you can see it changes size, and we have this parallax 3D type hover effect. Awesome. So next, after the icons we have a h1 with the category dot category name, and then we have a p tag with category dot open positions. Now this h1 have some class name of margin top will be 6, text will be center, font medium, text will be gray 800. In the dark mode, the text will be gray 200. And for the p tag, we have the class name of margin top of 2, text gray 600. In the dark mode, text gray 400, and text will be small and text center. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have the category name, but the open position we have to add some more text. So let's go here, and here we have a first bracket, and here we have the text open positions. Now if I hit save and go to our project, now it looks awesome, just like this one. So now you can see we have the hover effect, and we have this beautiful card, category card, just like this one. So now if I show you in the dark mode, you can see in dark mode it also changes background color and looks awesome. And if I show you the responsiveness, so if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, you can see in mobile devices everything fit perfectly. And if I show you in the iPad devices, in iPad you can see it also fit perfectly. So our category section is completed. Next, we are going to build the feature job section. If I show you the feature job, here you can see we have the section heading and we have this features job card. So to build this, I am going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name this job. And inside this, I'm going to create a file called job.tsx. And then I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the static data that we are going to use. So let me paste the data first. So here we have a jobs array that contains some object, and the object have ID and the image, the title of the job, the location, the job type, and the urgency. And don't worry, this data will be given in the starter file, and the starter file is in the description. So this is the static data that we are going to use in this component. Now I'm going to add this in our home. So after the category, I'm going to use the job. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have the text job. Then this job component, the first div have some class name. So the class name will be padding top of 16 and padding bottom of 16. Then inside this div we have our section heading, and in the section heading we need to pass some props. First one is the heading and then the subheading. So I'm going to copy the heading and subheading from our deployed version. So this is the heading, and then this is the subheading. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our section heading for the job section. Next, after the section heading, we have a div with class name of width will be 95%, and then small and large screen width will be 80%, margin top will be 16, image will be auto, then we have grid calls will be 1, and in large screen grid calls will be 2, and in extra large screen grid calls will be 3, gap will be 10, items will be center, item center. That's it. Now inside this we are going to map through our job data. So map, we'll get the individual job, and then here we're going to return a div, and here we have to pass the key. The key will be job dot id, and then inside this div what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate component for the job card. So here I'm going to use job card dot css, and then I'm going to use rxc to create the component boilerplate, and then here inside this div, so for every job we are going to show a job card. So job card component, and here we are going to pass job as a props. Now we have to receive this in our job card component. So I'm going to hover here, this will give us the type. So I'm going to copy it from here, and then I'm going to open job card, and here at the top I'm going to define type props, and the props will be a job object that contains id, image, title, location, job type, and urgency. And here I am going to pass the props and import the job. Now here the first div have a class name of border 1.5 pixel, border will be gray 300, in the dark mode border will be gray 700, and padding will be 6, rounded LG, and relative. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our job card with the border. Then inside this div we have another div with class name of width 7, height 7, cursor pointer. Then in the hover the BG will be gray 300, in dark mode hover BG will be gray 800, flex items will be center, transition all, then we have duration of 200 millisecond, justify center, rounded full, and flex will be in the column direction. This one will be absolute, top will be 4, and right will be 4. If I hit save, and then inside this we have an icon which is BS bookmark, and this icon have some class name of width 3 and height of 3. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and here you can see we have our bookmark icon, so just like this one. Awesome. So then after this bookmark, so let me add a comment here, bookmark icon. Then after this div we have another div with class name of flex, items will be center, not item center, and SpaceX will be 4, SpaceX 4. Now inside this div we have an image which is coming from next image, and then this image have the source. The source will be job dot image, and the alt will be job dot title, and then the width will be 50, and the height will be 50. Now if I hit save and if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our image, which looks awesome. Then after the image, we have a div, and inside this div we have a h1 with the title. So job dot title. This h1 have some class name. So first we have text of base, font of medium. Then we have a div with class name of flex, items will be center, and SpaceX will be 6. Then inside this div we have another div with class name of flex, item center, SpaceX 1, then margin top will be 2, and text color will be gray 500. Now inside this div we have an icon which is BI briefcase, and then we have a p tag with the text segment, and here the icon have some class name. So first we have width of 5, height of 5, and the p tag have class name of text gray 500, and text will be small. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our title, and then we have this segment, so just like this one. Then we have this location. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this div and paste it underneath, and here I'm going to change the icon here. So the next icon will be gr location, and the text here will be job dot location. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have the location just like this one. Awesome. Next we have this full-time and urgent tags, and here you can see that for the urgent the background is red, and for the private the background is gray. So let's go here. Then after this div we have another div with class name of flex, item center, SpaceX 4, and margin top will be 3. Now inside this we have another div with class name of px4, py1, bg will be blue 600 slash 30. In the dark mode the bg will be blue 950 slash 30, and then rounded full text extra small, text will be blue 700, and in the dark mode text will be blue 300. Now if I hit save, so here I think in the dark we have text blue 300. Now inside this div we have job type, job dot job type, Then after this div, we have another div with class name of, and here we are going to use the template literal. So here we have px4 ey1 rounded full, then text extra small, and then we are going to check if the job dot urgency is equal to urgent. If it is urgent, then we are going to have background rate 600 slash 30. In the dark mode, bg will be rate 300 slash 30. Text will be rate 700, and in the dark mode, text will be rate 300. And if it is not urgent, in that case the background will be green 600 slash 30. Text will be green 700, and in the dark mode text will be green 300. So now if I hit save, and inside this div we have our job dot urgency. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have full-time, urgent, and with the job that are not urgent have this green background, and the urgent job has red background. Awesome. So this looks exactly like this one and looks very professional. Awesome. Next we have this load more listing button. So let's go to our job, and here after this we have a div, and this div have some class name of margin top of 10 text center, and then inside this div we have a button with the text load more listing, and this button has some class name of ex of 10 ui of 4, bg will be blue 700, text white, then we have cursor pointer rounded lg, in the hover the background will be blue 800, transition all, and duration 200 milliseconds. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and here you can see we have our button load more listing. So now this section looks perfect. If I show you the dark mode, so you can see in the dark mode it also fits perfectly and changes background color, and it looks awesome. Now if I show you the responsiveness, so if I inspect and if I hover in the mobile devices, you can see in mobile devices it fits perfectly, and in the iPad you can see in iPad it also fits perfectly. So our featured job section is completed. Next, we are going to build the top company slider. So if I show you the top company slider, here you can see we have section heading and then this beautiful slide. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name this top company. And inside this, I'm going to create a file called top company.tsx. And then I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate. Now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the static data that we are going to use in this top company component. So let me paste the data here. So these are the data that we are going to use. We have an array of object with ID, image, name, location, and position. And don't worry, I'm going to provide this data in the starter file. Next, what I'm going to do is in the home, I'm going to add our desktop company. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have the text top company. Now let's go to the top company here, and the first div have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16. Then we have our section heading. So here we are going to use our section heading component, and then here we need to pass the heading and the subheading. So I'm going to copy the heading and subheading from our deployed version. So this is the heading, so I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and then this is our subheading, and I'm going to copy this, then I'm going to paste it here. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our section heading. Awesome. Next, after the section heading, we have a div with class name of width will be 80%, image will be auto, margin top will be 60. Now inside this div we will have our slider, and for the slider we are going to use the npm package which is React multi-carousel. So this is a very popular slider library that we can use with our Next.js. So you can see they have a lot of weekly downloads, and if you want you can learn more about by reading their documentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy their npm script and I'm going to install the React multi-carousel. Then here first we need to import this carousel and the styling. So I'm going to copy these two lines and I'm going to paste it at the top. Then what we need to do is here we need to copy a responsive variable. So I'm going to copy this one from here. So this is for the responsive design, and then I'm going to paste it at the top, and here we're going to change some of the property. So here first we have desktop and the breakpoint. The maximum will be 3000 and for the minimum will be 1324, and we want 4 items to the screen and we want that 1 item to slide at a time. Then for the template, the maximum will be 1324 and the minimum will be 764. And here we want 2 items at the screen and we want 1 item to slide. And in the mobile, the maximum will be 764 and the minimum will be 0. We want 1 item to the screen and we want 1 item to slide. So that's it. This is our responsive variable. And then inside this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this carousel. And here you can see they have a lot of configuration options. So I'm going to paste it here. And here I'm going to change some of this. So here, first, we don't need this sweepable and draggable, and we are not going to show the dots here. That's why I'm going to make it false. And for the responsive, we are going to use our responsive variable from here. Then we don't need the SSR, so I'm going to remove this, and the infinity will be true and the autoplay will be true, and then the autoplay speed will be 4000 milliseconds. That means 4 seconds. After 4 seconds the slider will automatically slide, and for the remaining we don't need it, so I'm going to remove it and hit save. And we need to convert this component into a client component, so I'm going to use client to convert this into a client component. So now if I go to our project, so if I reload the page and if I go here, now you can see we already have our slider working. Awesome. And here we have an extra semicolon, so I think we have some extra semicolon here, so this is the extra semicolon, so I'm going to remove this, and now you can see this is our slider and it works perfectly. Next we need to create this card, and for this I'm going to create a separate component. So I'm going to name this top company car.css, and then I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. And then here inside this carousel I'm going to remove these divs, and I'm going to use our company data, and I'm going to map through it. We'll get the individual data, and then here I'm going to return a top company cart component, and here we need to pass the key. The key will be data.id, and we're going to pass the data as a props. That's it. Now we need to receive the props and give them the proper types. I'm going to hover here. This will give us the types. I'm going to copy this and go to the top component card, and here at the top we're going to create a type props, and here we're going to paste our props. The props will be a data which have which is an object that contains id, image, name, location, and position. Now I'm going to pass it here as a props, and I'm going to import the data. That's it. Now here in the top company card section, at the first div we have a class name of bg gray 100. In the dark mode, the bg will be gray 800, then rounded lg, and padding will be 6, margin will be 3. Now inside this div we have a image component from next image, and inside this image the source will be data dot image, then the alt will be data dot name, and then the width will be 80, and the height will be 80. We have some class name here. The class name will be object cover, not center. Object will be cover. The image will be auto. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we already have our image just like this one. Awesome. So after the image we have h1 with our data dot name, and this h1 have some class name of text large, font medium, margin top will be 4, text will be center, text will be gray 800, and in the dark mode text will be gray 200. That's it. Now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our name just like this one. And then after this we have a div with class name of text small, text will be gray 500, then in the dark mode the text will be gray 400, flex items will be central, SpaceX will be 1, then text center, justify center, and margin top will be 3. And then inside this div we first have a icon which is gr location, and then we have a p tag with that data dot location. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our location which looks awesome. Next we have this button like open position. So here after this div we have another div with class name of px will be 10, py will be 3, bg blue 700 by 10. Then we have cursor pointer in the hover The BG will be blue 800, transition all, duration will be 300 millisecond. In the hover, the text will be white, text will be blue 800. In the dark mode, the text will be gray 200, and rounded LG. Margin top will be 4, text will be small, text will be center. Then here inside this we have data dot position. This will give us the number, and then the text open position. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our open position, which looks awesome with the hover effect. Now you can see we can slide from left to right or right to left, and if I wait some time, you can see it slide automatically. Here you can see it slide automatically. Now if I show you the deployed version, here you can see it looks exactly like this one. And let me show you the dark mode. So if I click here, so this is the dark mode, and you can see in dark mode it also looks amazing. Now if I show you the responsiveness, so if I inspect and if I select the mobile devices, and here you can see in mobile devices it fit perfectly. We have one item to the screen. And if I show you the iPad version, here you can see in iPad it also fit, and we have two items to the screen. So our top company section is complete. Next, we are going to build the information section. So if I show you the information section, here you can see we have an image and some text content. So to build it, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name this info. And inside this, I'm going to create a info.tsx. Then I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. And then I'm going to add this in our home. So after the top company, we will have our info. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text info. Then let's go to the info, and here at the first div we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16. Then inside this div we'll have another div with class name of width will be 80%, image will be auto, we're going to use grid calls will be 1, in large screen grid calls will be 2, and gap will be 10, items will be center. Now inside this div, first we have the image content. So let's say this div is for the image content, and then we have text content. Let's say this div is for the text content. Now for the image content, we have an image component from next image, and here we have the source of slash images slash a.png. Then for the alt we are going to use img. Then the width will be 1000 and height will be 1000. Then we have, so that's it. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our image. Awesome. Next we have the text content. So I'm going to copy this title from here, and then inside this div we have a h1 with the title. This h1 will have a class name of text 3xl, in medium screen text 4xl, then in the largest screen text will be 5xl, font bold and leading will be 8. In larger screen, leading will be 16. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our heading. Next we have this subheading. So I'm going to copy this text from here, and then after the h1 we have a p tag with this subheading, and this p tag has some class name of margin top of 6, text gray 700. And then in the dark mode the text will be gray 300. Then after this p we have a div with class name of margin top of 8. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of flex item center space x2, and margin bottom will be 4. And then inside this div we have a bi check icon from React icon, and here we have some class name of width 7, height 7, and text will be pink 600. That's it. Then we have another span with class name of text gray 700. In the dark mode the text will be gray 300 and font will be medium. That's it. And inside this we have a text of bring to the table win-win survival. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our subheading and we have this first list item, just like this one. Next we have this second. So I'm going to copy this text from here, and I'm going to copy this, and here I'm going to paste the second list text, and I'm going to copy it again, and I'm going to copy the third one from here, and then I'm going to paste it here. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and here we have our text, but here we don't have this posted job text. Now if I hit save, so now it looks exactly like this one, and then we have this button for post a job. So after this div we have another div with class name of margin top of 8, and inside this we have a button with the text of post a job, and this button has some class name of ex10 py3 bg blue 800 rounded lg text white text center cursor pointer in hover. The bg will be blue 950, transition all, and duration will be 300 milliseconds. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our button post a job, and this section looks amazing just like this one. And if I show you the dark mode, you can see in dark mode it also looks amazing. Now if I show you the responsiveness, so if I inspect and select the mobile devices, here you can see in mobile devices it fit perfectly, and in the iPad it also fit perfectly. So our information section is completed. Next we are going to build the pricing section. So if I show you the pricing section, here you can see we have 3 price card. One is basic, one standard, and one extended. So now we are going to build this section. So to build this section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name this price, and inside this I'm going to create a price.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our home. So after the info, we're going to add our price. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have the text price. Now let's go to the price.tsx, and here at the first div we're going to add a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16. Now inside this div we have our section heading. I'm going to use our section heading component, and here we're going to use our heading and subheading. Now I'm going to copy the heading and subheading from our deployed version. So here this is the heading. I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and then this is the subheading. I'm going to copy this subheading from here, and then I'm going to paste it here. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our section heading. Awesome. So then after the section heading we have a div with class name of width will be 80%, image will be auto, margin top will be 16. We're going to use grid calls will be 1. In medium screen grid calls will be 2, and in extra large grid calls will be 3, and we have a gap of 6. Now inside this what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the separate price card component for each card. So here in the price folder I'm going to create a price card.tsx, and then I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then here we first have a div, and inside this div we have our price card. That's it. Now in the price card I'm going to pass some props. So here first we are going to pass the type, and for the first one the type will be basic, and then we are going to pass the price, and for the first one the price will be 199. That's it. Now we have 3 price cards, so I'm going to copy it 2 more time, and the second one is the type standard, and the price will be 299. Let's say 399. Then the third one we have extended, and this one let's say 799. So this is our price card and this is our props. Now we have to receive these props and give the type. So let's go to the price card, and at the top I'm going to create a type props, and inside this we are receiving a type which is string, and then we are receiving a price which is also type of string. Now we are going to pass this prop here as a prop, and we're going to import our price and type. Now in the first div we have a class name of bg will be gray 100. In the dark mode the bg will be gray 700, padding will be 10, rounded lg, and we have relative position. Then inside this we are going to check if the type is equal to standard. In that case we are going to show a batch. So if I show you the deployed version, here you can see in the standard one we have this recommended batch. So here we're going to check if the type is standard, and then we're going to use a div, and then inside this div we have our text recommended, and this div will have some class name. So first we have absolute positioning, then top will be 7, right will be 7, so top will be 7 not 6, and right will be 7, px will be 6, py will be 1.5, then bg will be green 800, then we have text white, rounded full, and text will be extra small. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see for the second one we have this recommended batch. Awesome. So next after this, let's add a comment here. So this is the type check for recommended batch. Then after this we have each one with our type, and this h1 will have some class name of margin top of 6, text will be extra large, font bold, then we have text blue 900, in the dark mode the text will be blue 200. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our text basic, standard and extended, just like this one. So let's add a comment here that this is the type, and then after this we have our price. So here we have a div with class name of margin top of 3. Now inside this div we have a span with this dollar sign and then the price, and this span has some class name of text 4XL, font bold, text color will be blue 950, then in the dark mode text will be white. So now if I hit save, and then after this span we have slash monthly. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and here you can see we have 199 slash monthly, just like this one. Awesome. Next we have this list. So let's go here. So after the prime we have the feature list. So here we have a div with class name of margin top of 12. Then inside this we have another div with class name of flag, item center, then margin bottom will be safe and SpaceX will be 1. Now inside this div we have an icon which is behind check icon from React icon, and here we have some class name. So first we have width of 7, height of 7, and then we have a span with the text of 0 featured job, and the span have some class name text gray 700, and in the dark mode the text will be gray 300. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our check mark and this text 0 featured job, just like this one. So first we have one job posting. I think this one will be the second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and paste it at the top, and here this one will be one job posting. Then we have two more, so I'm going to copy this div two more time, and the third one here we have job displayed for 20 days, and the final one is premium support 24/7. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see this is our featured list, so just like this one. Next we have this view profile button. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a space here. So now if I go to our project, here you can see we have some gap between this text and the monthly. Awesome. So next we have button. So we have button. Here we have a div with class name of margin top of 8, text will be center, and then inside this div we have our button with the text view profile, and this button will have some class name of width full, padding y will be 3, bg will be blue 900 slash 50. In the dark mode the bg will be gray 100, text will be blue 700, and then rounded will be full. In the hover bg will be blue 700. In the hover the text will be white, transition will be all, duration 300 millisecond, and cursor will be pointer. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our button which looks awesome, or view profile button. So now if I show you the deployed one, you can see our pricing component look exactly like this one. So now if I show you that dark mode, here you can see in dark mode it also looks amazing, and it changes background color and looks very decent. Now if I show you the responsiveness, so if I inspect and if I show a mobile devices, you can see in mobile devices it fit perfectly. And if I show you the iPad version, so you can see in iPad it also fit perfectly. So our pricing section is completed. Now we are going to build the client review slider section. So if I show you the client review slider section, here you can see we have our section heading and this slider with client review. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name this review, and inside this I'm going to create a review.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. Then I'm going to add this in our home. So after the price we will have our review. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text review. Now let's go to the review, and here the first div have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16. Then inside this we will have our section heading, and here we need to pass the props of heading and subheading. So I'm going to copy the heading and subheading from our deployed version. So I'm going to copy both of them and let's paste it here. So this is our heading, and then this is our subheading. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our section head. Awesome. Next we have this slider. So for the slider we are going to use the React multi-carousel that we used previously on our company section. So if I go to the top company section, so this is the top company section. Here you can see we need to import this multi-carousel and carousel. So carousel and the styling. So I'm going to copy these two and I'm going to paste it here. And also we need to convert this into a client component. So I'm going to use client. And then what we need is this responsive variable. So I'm going to copy this responsive variable and I'm going to paste it here. So here I am going to change some of this. So first what we are going to change is the items will always 1. So in the desktop it will be 1, and then for the tablet it will be 1, and for the mobile it will also be 1. So this is our responsive variable. Next, here after the section heading we'll have a div with class name of with 80%, mx will be auto, and margin top will be 60. Then inside this div we'll have our carousel, and here we need to pass some of this configuration. So I'm going to copy the configuration from our top company. So here we have this. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. So we are going to not show the dots and responsive, while our responsive variable infinity true, autoplay will be true, and autoplay speed will be 4000 milliseconds, that means 4 seconds. Now inside this what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate component for the card. So in the review folder I'm going to create a review card.css, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and here I'm going to use our review card, and we need to pass some props there. So first is the image. For the first one the image will be slash images slash u1.png. Then we're going to pass a title. For the first one the title is great quality, and then we need to pass a username. So for the first one we have Jessica Doe, and then for the user role let's say app developer. So now if I hit save, so we have 3 review card here. So I'm going to copy it 2 more times. For the second one, this one is u2, and let's change this title to awesome work and add a exclamation mark, and also here, and let's change the username. This one will be Jason Doe, and let's say this one is web developer, and for the third one let's use u3.png, and for the title I'm going to use best work, and the name will be let's say Janie Doe, and user role will be let's say game developer. So now we need to receive this props in our review card. So let's open the review card, and here at the top we're going to use the type props, and here we're receiving an image of type string, then a username of type string, a title of type string, and a user role of type string, and now we're going to pass it here by the props, and then we're going to import the image, title, user role, and username. That's it. Now here the first step have some class name of width full. In large screen width will be 60% and mx will be auto. Now inside this div we first have a image. We are going to use next image here, and the source will be image, the alt will be, let's say, image, the width 80, height will be 80. Then we have some class name of object cover, and mx will be auto. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our user image and we already have our slider working. So after the image we have h1 with the title, and here the title will have some class name of margin top of 4, text will be large, font will be bold, and text will be blue 600. In the dark mode text will be white and text center. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text just like this one. Next we have this review text. So here I am going to use a p tag and I'm going to use an extension to generate some random text. So I'm going to use lorem 35 that will give us a 35 random word. If I hit enter, here you can see this is our random text. So to use this you need to install an extension, and the extension is this one, lorem ipsum. By installing this you can generate random text. Now here this p tag will have some class name of padding top of 4, text will be center, then we have text gray 600, and in the dark mode text will be gray 400. Then we have, so that's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so this is our review text. Next we have this username and user roles. So after this p tag we have a div with class name of margin top of 8, text will be center, and then inside this div we have h1 with our username, and then a p tag with our user role. Now for the h1 I have a class name of text excel, font semi bold, text gray 700. In the dark mode text gray 200. For the p tag we have a class name of text gray 600, text will be small, then we have margin top of 2, and in the dark mode text gray 400. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our username and the row, and our slider also works perfectly. If I show you the dark mode, you can see in dark mode it also fits perfectly and looks amazing. And let me show you the responsiveness. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, and you can see in mobile device it fit perfectly. And let's check in the iPad device. In the iPad device it also fit perfectly. So our client review section is completed. Next we are going to build the footer section. So if I show you the footer section, here you can see we have logo, some text, the information, and then some footer link. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name this footer. And then inside this, I'm going to create a footer dot tsn. And then I'm going to use rafc to create the component boilerplate. And then I'm going to add this in our layout. So in the app layout, after the children, we will have our footer so that all the page have access to this footer. That's it. Now let's go to the footer, and here for the first key we have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, background will be gray 200. Then in the dark mode the background will be gray 900. That's it. Now inside this we will have another div with class name of width will be 90%, mx will be auto, we're going to use grid calls will be 1. Then we have in medium screen grid calls will be 3. Then in the large screen grid calls will be 4. Then in the extra large grid calls will be 6 and gap 10, and items will be start. So now if I hit save, and then inside this div we have the first part, which is this one. So if I show you the deployed version, this is the first part. So here we have a div with class name of in extra large call span will be 2. Now inside this first we have our logo. So for the logo I'm going to copy this from our navbar. So here in the nav we have our logo. So this is the logo. So I'm going to copy this from here, and then I'm going to paste it in our footer. So let's go to the footer, and here I'm going to paste it. Now we need to import this icon from React icon. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and here you can see we have our icons. Next we have this random text. So I'm going to copy the text from here, and then after this logo we have a p tag with this random text, and this p tag will have a class name of margin top will be 4, then text small, text gray 600, then in the dark mode text gray 400. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our description random text. Next we have this call us and the number. So after this p tag we have our call. So here we have a div with class name of margin top of 5. Now inside this div we have h1 with the text call us, and then we have a p tag with the random number. So let's use a random number here, and then this h1 have some class name. So first we have in the large devices text will be excel, text will be base, text gray 700. Then we have in the dark mode the text will be gray 300, font will be medium, Now if I hit save, and then this p tag will have some class name of margin top of 1, text will be gray 600, then in the dark mode text gray 300, then font medium, not font medium, here in the large screen text LD, text base, font bold. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see this is our color and the number, just like this one. Next we have this addresses. So let's go here. So after the call we have our address, and here we have a p tag with address, then we have another p tag with full address, you can use your address here. Then we have a email, so I'm going to use a dummy email. That's it. Now this p tag have a class name of text small, text gray 600, in the dark mode text gray 400, and margin top will be 4. And I'm going to copy this class name, and then I'm going to add this for these two p tag also. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our addresses, but here we need to change something. So for the first one the margin top will be 4, for the second one it's margin top 2, and for the third one it's margin top 2. So now if I hit save, now it looks good, just like this one. So you can see our first part looks exactly like this one. Next we have this footer links. So this is our first part, it's complete. Next we have our second part, and here we have a div with class name of space y6, and inside this we first have a h1 with the text for candidates. Now if I hit save, and this h1 have some class name of text lg, font bold, text gray 800, in the dark mode text gray 200. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our 4 candidates, just like this one. Next, after the h1 we have a p tag with the footer link. So for the first one is browse jobs. So here I am going to create a custom class, and I am going to name it footer link. Then what I am going to do is I am going to open my global.css, and here at the top after the import I am going to use a layer components, and here I am going to use our footer link, and we are going to apply some tailwind here. So first is text gray 600, then in the dark mode we have text gray 400, then text small, cursor pointer, width will be feet, in the hover the text will be sky 700. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our browse job with this hover effect. It looks exactly like this one. Now let's go back to our footer, and here we have 4 more footer links. So I'm going to copy this 4 more times. So the second one is, after the browse job we have browse categories. Then we have candidate dashboard, candidate dashboard. Then we have job alerts, and finally we have my bookmarks. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and you can see we have our browse categories, candidate dashboard, job alerts, and my bookmark. It looks exactly like this one, and by using this footer link class, we do not need to repeat the same styling for this and that, and it looks clean. Next we have this part for employee, which is exactly like this one. So I'm going to copy the second part here. So I'm going to copy this second part, and I'm going to change the comment here, third part, and here the h1 will be for employers, and here the first p tag will be browse candidates. Then we have employer dashboard. Then we have add job, and finally we have job packages, and we do not need the last one, so I'm going to delete this. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and now you can see this is our third part. Next we have this about us, which is similar to this one. So I'm going to copy this again. So copy this. This is our fourth part, and here for the each one the text will be about us, and the links will be, so here the first one is job page, then the second one is job page alternative, then the third one is resume page, then the fourth one is blog, and we have another one, so I'm going to copy this, and the last one is contact. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so you can see this is our fourth part. Next we have this helpful resources. So I'm going to copy this again. So I'm going to copy this and paste it underneath. So this is our fifth part, and here the h1 will be helpful resources, and then the first link here will be sitemap, then we have terms of use, then we have privacy center, then we have security center, and finally we have accessibility center. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see this is our fifth part where we have sitemaps, terms of use, privacy center, security center, and accessibility center. So this looks exactly like this one, and then we have this copyright text. So I'm going to copy the copyright text from here. Now let's go to our project. So after this div, we have another div with class name of padding top of 6, margin top of 10, border top, then we have width will be 90%, mx will be auto, then we have border gray 300, and in the dark mode the border gray 800, that's it. Now inside this we have a p tag with our copyright text, and then this p tag has some class name of text gray 500. And now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our copyright text, and here we have a border. So the full footer section looks amazing. So if I show you the dark mode, in the dark mode you can see it also looks amazing. Now let me show you the responsiveness. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, and you can see in mobile devices it fit perfectly. And if I show you the iPad version, so in the iPad it also fit perfectly. So our footer section is completed. Next, we are going to build the scroll to top feature. So in the deployed version, here you can see we have a button. If I click here, it will go to the top. And initially it's hidden, but if I start scrolling, it appears to the screen, and by clicking this, it go to the top. So this is the scroll to top feature. So to build this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a file in our helper, and I'm going to name it scroll to top.css, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and I'm going to convert this into a client component using use client. And then at the top, first I'm going to create a state variable which is visible and set is visible, and we're going to use state, and initially it will be false. So initially we are not going to show the button. Then we have a use effect. So here we are going to build our show and hide functionality. So here we have a use effect hook, and we have an empty dependency array, and inside this I'm going to create a function called toggle visibility, which is an arrow function, and inside this we are going to check if window dot scroll in the y. So if we scroll 300 pixel, then we are going to set our is visible to true. Otherwise we are going to set our is visible to false. Now what we are going to do is we are going to use window dot add event listener, and we are going to listen for the scroll event, and when you scroll we are going to run our toggle visibility function. And as you know, it's good practice to use a cleanup function, so I'm going to use a cleanup function here. I'm going to return, and then I'm going to copy this line from here and paste it here, and change this add event listener to remove event listener. That's it. Then I'm going to create a scroll functionality. So here I'm going to create a function called scroll to top, and this one will be an arrow function. Here we are going to use window dot scroll to, we are going to scroll to and here we need to pass some options. So the top, we're going to scroll to top, that's why the top will be 0, and the behavior we want smooth. So we want a smooth behavior, that's why we're using the behavior smooth. That's it. Next, here the div will have some class name of fixed bottom 4, then animate pulse and right 4. Now inside this div we are going to check for our is visible. We are going to check if is visible is true, then we are going to show a button here. We are going to show a button, and this button will have some class name of bg blue 700 cursor pointer text white rounded full and width 12 height 12 flex item center justify center, and then focus outline none. And then here in this button, when you click on this button, we're going to run our scroll to top function, and then inside this button we'll have an arrow icon, just fa arrow up. That's it. So now we need to add this. So we are going to add this in our layout. So after the footer, we are going to add our scroll to top so that all the pages have this scroll to top feature. So now if I go to our project, and here you can see we have our scroll to top button. Let's click here. You can see it go to the top smoothly, and initially it's hidden, but when I start scrolling you can see it appear to the screen, and we have this pulse animation, and then by clicking this it will go to the top. So this is the scroll to top functionality. Our scroll to top functionality is completed. Now we are going to implement the animation in our project to make it more attractive. So in the deployed version, if I reload the page, here you can see we have animation. We also have this scroll animation, and now we are going to implement this to our landing page. So to implement this, I'm going to use a package, and the package is called AOS, animation on scroll. It is a very easy to use library, and you can easily use this package to create a very nice scroll animation in your landing page. So if I scroll here, you can see they have different types of animation like fade. They have different types of fade: fade up left, fade up right, fade down. They have the flip animation, zoom animation, and the best thing is you just need to add this data AOS to your div to animate this in the scroll. And you also have different types of settings that you can change. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open their GitHub page, and here they have the details documentation. If you want, you can learn more about this package. So for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to install this using this npm script. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here and hit enter to install the AOS in our project. Next we need to import AOS and AOS CSS. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it in our home.tsx. So in the home.tsx we are going to configure our AOS. So here at the top I'm going to paste it, and also what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a use client to make this component a client component. That's it. Now if I hover here, so you can see we also need to install the types. So I'm going to copy this from here, and then I'm going to paste it here to install the associated types for this AOS. Now I'm going to hit enter to install the types. Next what we need to do is here inside this home I'm going to use a use effect hooks, and here we will use a empty dependency array. Then inside this use effect I'm going to create a function called init aos, and this one will be an async function. And here inside this, first I'm going to await import aos. Then after this we're going to use aos dot init, and here we're going to pass some of the property. So if you go to their GitHub page, here you can see they have lot of different types of settings that you can change in your aos. So I'm going to change some of these. First I'm going to use the duration. The duration will be 1000 milliseconds, that means 1 second. Then we have easing, and I'm going to use ease for this. Then we're going to use once to true, and then we're going to use anchor placement. So here I'm going to use top bottom. That's it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call our init aos. So this is our configuration for aos. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to add animation to our hero section first. So I'm going to open our hero.tss, and here at the top this is the text content, so I'm going to add animation here. So what I'm going to add here is I'm going to use data dash aos, and for this one I'm going to use a fade right, and that's it. That's enough to animate this in the scroll. Then we're going to add animation to our image. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a data dash aos, and I'm going to use fade left. So first this text will be a fade right animation, and this one will be a fade left animation. Here I'm going to use another property which is data aos delay, and I'm going to use a 150 millisecond of delay. What will happen then? First, the text content will appear to the screen, and after 150 second delay, the image will appear to the screen. Now if I go to our project, if I reload the page, here you can see we have our hero animation. First the text content appeared, then the image. If I show you again, here you can see it looks amazing. Next we are going to add animation to our category section. So let's go to the category section. So category.tss. So here you can see we map through a category data, and each this div represent a card. So here in the category we are going to also use index. We will get the index from here. Now in this div we're going to use our animation. So here we're going to use data dash aos, and here I'm going to use fade right, and then we're going to use another property which is data dash aos dash anchor placement, and for this one we're going to use the anchor placement to top center, and then we're going to add delay. So we want that one by one the card will appear to the screen. So data dash aos dash delay, and here we're going to use index into 100. What will happen then? For the first element the index is 0 because array is 0 index. So for the first element 0 I'll multiply with 100, which give us the 0. That means the first item have 0 delay. For the second item the index is 1, and 1 is multiplied with 100, which gives us a 100 milliseconds of delay. For the third one it will be 200 milliseconds, and that will go on. So now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, this is our hero animation. And now if I start scrolling, you can see the category section, and one by one the card appear to the screen. If I show you again, if I reload the page, So this is the hero section animation, and then you can see it appear to the screen very smoothly. Awesome. Next, we are going to add animation to our job section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this 3 line from here, and then I'm going to open our job.tsx, and here we have this similar mapping and this tip. So I'm going to paste here, and for the job we are going to add a fade up animation, fade up, and the anchor placement will be top center and delay will be indexed into 100, and we need to use the index also. So now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, we have our hero animation, then we have this category animation, then we have this featured job animation where the job fade up to the screen, which looks awesome. Next, we are going to skip this because this is a slider and we are not going to add animation here. Then we are going to add this info section. So let's go to the info.tsx, and I'm going to copy this 3 line from here, and then I'm going to open info.tsx, and here at the top I'm going to first add animation to this image. I'm going to paste the animation here, and I'm going to use fade right here, and the anchor placement will be top center, and I'm going to copy this now, and I'm going to delete the delay because for the first one we don't need any delay. Then we are going to add animation to this text content section. So I'm going to paste it here, and this one will be fade left, and the anchor placement will be top center, and the delay here will be 150 milliseconds. So now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, this is our hero section animation, then we have this category section, then we have this featured job section, and then we have our info section animation. Awesome. So next we are going to add animation to our price section. So here this one will be fade right and the image will be fade left, but you can use the left or right if you want. So now if I hit save, now if I show you the animation again, so this is the hero section, this is the category section, featured job section, and now this looks more attractive. That's why I use this. Next we're going to add animation to our price section. So I'm going to copy this 3 line from here, then I'm going to open our price.tsx. So this is the price.tsx, and here for the first tip I'm going to paste the animation, and for the first one we have a delay of 0. You can keep it here or you can delete this. So I'm going to keep it here, and then this data.aos I'm going to use fade right, and then I'm going to copy this, and for the second dip we're going to use the same animation but change the delay to 100 milliseconds, and for the third one we're going to use 200 milliseconds of delay. So now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, so this is our initial animation, then we have this category section, then we have this featured job section, then we have this info section, and finally we have this pricing section animation. Awesome. And we're not going to add animation to our testimonial. So all our animation are complete now. I am going to show you the animation again. So if I reload, this is the hero section, then we have this category section, then we have featured job section animation, and then we have this info section, and finally we have this pricing section. You can see how smooth and how easy it is to implement the scroll animation using AOS. So this is it for the animation. Our animation is completed. So our project is fully complete. Now we are going to deploy our project in live server, and we are going to use Vercel for that. So before deploying the project in Vercel, we need to push our project in GitHub. So first I'm going to open my GitHub account, and here I'm going to create a new repository, and I'm going to name this job YT, and I'm going to make this a private repository, and I'm going to click here to create repository. Then I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to stop the project from running and clear the window, the terminal. And here first I'm going to use git init, then I'm going to use git add dot, and then git commit, and then a message like fast commit. Then if I go to our repository, here you can see we completed this, and then we need to use git branch m. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Then we need to add the remote origin, so I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here and hit enter. And finally we are going to push our project using git push -u origin main, and I'm going to paste it here and hit enter. Now this will push our project to GitHub. So it's completed. Now if I go to our project and reload the page, here you can see we have our project. We have our app, component, constant, public, and all of this. So our project is successfully pushed in the GitHub. Next, I'm going to open Vercel. If you don't have any account, you can create one for free in the Vercel, and then you will be redirected to this dashboard. And here I'm going to click here to add new project, and here I connect my GitHub with Vercel, and here you can see job YT. This is the just now that I push here. I'm going to import this, and let's make this name job YT, and then I'm going to click here to deploy. So the deployment started. Let's wait some time to complete the deployment. The deployment is completed. Now I'm going to click here to continue to dashboard, and here we have a domain now. So if I click here, this will open our project in live server in the Vercel. And here you can see my system preference is dark, that's why it's open in the dark mode. Awesome. So I'm going to click here to convert this into light mode. Boom, now you can see it converted into light mode. Now let's check that everything is still working in our deployed version or not. So if I start scrolling, we have our scroll animation working, our featured job section animation working also, our slider also working properly. Then we have this info section, pricing section, and then the review section. Let's click here to go to the top. So it's also working properly. Our dark mode, light mode works properly. Let's check on the responsiveness. Let's check in the mobile device. We have our sidebar, and in mobile devices everything also looks awesome and looks perfect. So now you have a link that you can share with others. You can add this to your resume or your portfolio, and you can show your skill in the Next.js to your client also. So this is it for this project. If you have any question related to this project, you can ask me in the comment section, and the full source code of this project will be given in the description. You can check this out, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel for more interesting web development content. So thanks for today.